The science behind what happens to our bodies when we eat only once per day has been known for quite some time. But what is not so common knowledge is how this eating routine can add years to your life. In today's video, we'll dive deep into the science behind what happens to your body when you eat only one meal a day. And we'll also discuss how to boost autophagy in order to live longer, healthier lives. I have recently finished reading a book called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, which talks about all the benefits of sleeping. And there was one particular part that caught my attention. In this part, he mentioned a study where they followed a group of 30-year-old male mice over the course of 2 years. Half of these mice were kept on a regular 12-hour light cycle, whereas the other half were put on a restricted 6-hour light cycle. Now, both groups were fed the exact same diet and had access to food and water ad libitum. It's a scientific way of saying that they could eat whenever they wanted. After just 6 months, the average lifespan of mice on a regular 12-hour light cycle was around 78 weeks. However, the average lifespan of mice on a restricted 6-hour light cycle was 94 weeks, which means that mice lived an extra 16 weeks longer than the control group. So if we do the conversion from mouse years to human years, that would be equivalent to a human living an extra 4 to 5 years just by being on a 6-hour light cycle. Now that is a huge benefit for such a small change. Now obviously, it's much easier said than done to switch your entire life to a 6-hour work schedule. But fortunately, there are ways to get similar benefits with just a slight change to your eating habits. So instead of eating 3 meals per day, what if we just have one big meal per day? In this state, the body will burn fat for energy instead of burning carbs. This is because carbs are the preferred source of energy for the body. And since you have eaten any carbs in the last 24 hours, the body will tap into its secondary fuel source, which is fat, which leads us to the first benefit, weight loss. By forcing your body to use fat as a primary energy source, you will end up burning significantly more calories. Now, I'm not saying that you should restrict your food intake to 1 meal per day for the rest of your life, because there are potential downsides to doing that. But if you want to lose weight, then restricting your eating window is an effective method. Another great thing about only eating 1 meal per day is that you will increase the amount of time that your body spends in ketosis. Ketosis is a metabolic state where your body burns fat for energy instead of burning carbohydrates for energy. There are many benefits associated with ketosis, including increased fat burning, improved cognitive function, reduced inflammation, and even anti-aging effects. If you want to learn more about those benefits, I have a whole video dedicated to them, which you can check out here. So by increasing the length of time your body spends in ketosis, you will experience all those amazing benefits that come along with it. And the third benefit of not eating for 24 hours is something that I have never heard anyone mention before. And that is that it will make you hungrier when it's time to eat. Now don't get me wrong, hunger is not a bad thing. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When you're hungry, your body releases ghrelin, which tells your brain that it's time to go find some food. And this triggers the reward pathway in your brain, which means that whatever food you eat will taste delicious. And also, it will stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the rest and digest response. So when you eat, your body should be in a relaxed state, allowing you to fully enjoy your meal. It's quite the opposite of the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the fight or flight response. So if you're stressed out and anxious and you try to eat, your body won't be able to properly digest that food. So now that we know some of the potential benefits of not eating for 24 hours, let's dive into the science behind what actually happens to your body. So when you fast for a prolonged period of time, your body will start to run out of glycogen stores. Glycogen is basically just stored carbohydrates that your body uses for energy. So when your glycogen stores are depleted, your body will start to break down fat for energy. This process is called lipolysis. During lipolysis, fat is broken down into glycerol and 3 fatty acids, which can then be used as fuel by your body. Now, the interesting thing is that your body can use either glucose or ketones as fuel. So if you're not eating any carbs, your body will start to produce ketones from the glycerol that is released during lipolysis. This is called ketogenesis. So your body will essentially be running on ketones instead of glucose, which is why this is referred to as a ketogenic diet. But it doesn't stop there. Your body will also start to break down muscle tissue for amino acids, which can then be used to make new glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis. Now, you might be thinking that this is a bad thing, but it's not. Muscle growth happens when you are in a positive protein turnover rate, which just means that you're building muscle faster than you're breaking it down. So, if you're breaking down muscle tissue while you're fasting, it doesn't mean that you're losing muscle mass. It just means that your body is recycling the amino acids from the broken down muscle tissue to make new muscle tissue. And this is important because it allows your body to maintain muscle mass while it's breaking down fat for fuel. Now, all of this is great, but there's one more process that I need to talk about, and that is autophagy. Autophagy is basically just a fancy word for eating yourself. But before you click off the video, let me explain. Autophagy is a process where your body breaks down and recycles old or damaged proteins and other cellular debris. This is important because it helps to clear out damaged cells, which can then be replaced with new healthy cells. And this process is sped up when your body is in a fasted state. You see, when your body is in a fasted state, it doesn't have access to external sources of fuel, so it needs to start breaking down internal sources of fuel. And one of the first things that it breaks down is old or damaged proteins. This allows your body to recycle the amino acids from those proteins and use them to make new proteins. And that process is called autophagy. Autophagy is important for many reasons. It helps to clear out damaged cells, which can then be replaced with new healthy cells. It also helps to reduce inflammation in the body, and it has been shown to play a role in longevity. Now, there are many ways to stimulate autophagy in the body, but one of the most effective ways is through fasting. So the next question is, how long do you need to fast to stimulate autophagy? And the answer is that it depends. Some studies have shown that you need to fast for at least 16 hours to stimulate autophagy. However, other studies have shown that you can stimulate autophagy with as little as a 3-hour fast. So what exactly is going on here? Well, it turns out that the duration of the fast is less important than the amount of time that your body spends in ketosis. So if you want to stimulate autophagy, you need to spend enough time in ketosis. Regardless of whether you're doing a 3-hour fast or a 30-hour fast. And this makes sense because autophagy is a metabolic process, and ketones are a type of fuel. So it would make sense that your body needs to be adapted to using ketones for fuel in order to stimulate autophagy. So now the question is, how do we measure how long we have been in ketosis? Well, there are a few ways to do this, but the most accurate way is to measure something called beta-hydroxybutyrate, or BHB for short. BHB is a ketone body that is produced by your liver when you are in ketosis. It is one of the primary fuels used by your brain and other organs when you are fasting or following a ketogenic diet. Now, in order to measure BHB levels, you need to prick your finger and test a blood sample. But there are also BHB test strips that you can use with a regular blood glucose meter. If you really want to optimize your fasting, I recommend investing in one of these meters. In conclusion, there are many benefits to not eating for 24 hours, including weight loss, increased time spent in ketosis, and stimulation of autophagy. If you want to experience these benefits for yourself, then give it a try. Just make sure that you listen to your body and take care of yourself while you're redoing it. Fasting can be a powerful tool for improving your health and well-being, but it's not something that everyone should do. If you have any medical conditions, please consult with your doctor before starting a fasting regimen. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay strong.